about that?
I don't really know what it means, to be honest with you. Mystery Babylon?
What does it matter? I mean, and then I have one that says Occupy Wall Street, Jeremiah 51:14. And they won't let
I'm
me
not
put
familiar with the verse. What does Jeremiah say?
It says, the Lord has sworn by himself, I will fill you, which means occupy. That's what occupy means, to fill up. I will fill you with swarms of men and with swarms of locusts. And they will raise up the cloud of it. So that's what this is. This whole system is not right.
Oh, well, they all do eventually. I mean, when you look at nations all from the beginning of time, they all have, not all, but I mean, the Dutch, the English, they rise and then they taper off. You know, if we don't have some management of the capitalist society, we're in real trouble. Now, some would tell you, regulations, you can't have regulations. Well, I'm convinced that capitalism will eat itself if it's not managed.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Let's see. Thomas Jefferson said, I see future... You mean regulations for what?
On greed. Regulations on what the banksters can do.
Well, here's kind of the way...
I call it management. They call it regulations.
Here's kind of the way I see it. Is we're borrowing money from the Federal Reserve, you know, through Chase Bank, Bank of America, all these banks.
Uh-huh.
So, the rich rule the poor and the borrower is servant to the lender. So as long as we continue borrowing, they're going to continue ruling. And there's nothing we could do about it. Because we borrow from them.
Yeah.
What we have to do is we have to stop borrowing from them.
Well, and at least keep it within reason. You know? I mean, I never have had enough money in my life to pay cash for a car or to pay cash for my house.
No, but if everybody, we did at the beginning of our country, and that's what made our country so great, is we didn't have this fake money system.
Well,
the fake money system is the problem of all of our country. John Adams, he said, all perplexities, distress, and confusion that arise in America are not from a lack of want of honor or virtue, but in the downright ignorance of the nature of coin and its circulation. Clear up the money problem, and all seemingly unrelated problems will simply vanish. You see, we have a money problem, and our money is being created out of thin air from the bankers, you know, fractional reserve lending. And that is the root of the whole problem of our country. If we were to use gold and silver as money, because gold and silver is earned into the economy, because you have to earn wealth. Yeah. But the dollar, which is fake money, has to be borrowed in. That's the reason our country is down, not working, because we're borrowers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every dollar that comes in is borrowed, and there's an interest added on that was never created. So that interest is our debt, and it keeps going up. We can never pay it back.
I would submit, though, I think borrowing, if kept reasonable, is good for our economy.
It raises our debt.
It keeps money going. It doesn't have to, though. See, that's a problem.
Okay, explain how.
If, like my sister-in-law, if she didn't have to have 57 brand new dresses hanging in her closet.
Right.
She had
living
5.
within your means.
There you go. There you go. That's what's happened to us. It's not that money's the evil.
Okay.
We don't know how to use it. We allowed them to be indebted to them. Now, that being said, I have a brother-in-law who will not borrow money from anybody. You should see the house he lives in. You will struggle having a nice house and a decent car. That's the way our society is set up.
I don't have a car.
Okay.
I don't borrow from anybody. But you know what? I'm living within my means.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't live outside
I am too. I borrow no more than I can repay. And that's where most Americans went wrong.
I don't even borrow.
They borrowed more than they could repay because we were told, oh, here's a little piece of plastic. You just hand this to the person and pay whatever you can. And we bought it.
Okay, so let me see if, test your theory here. So you're saying it's okay to have a fake paper money system as long as we use it within reason?
Yes.
Okay. Now with this fake paper money system, every dollar that's borrowed has interest added to it.
Right.
That can never be paid off. Now this is how I explain it. Is you have two guys on an island. The simplest way I can explain it. You have two guys on an island. The banker says, okay, I'll lend you guys $100 each for your economy. And the guys are like, oh yeah, now I can buy a house, all right. But they forget one thing, and they don't think about the one thing, that they each owe $110.
Right.
So the first guy pays his loan off at 110. How much does that leave for the next guy?
Well, he's got to pay 110 also to get a loan.
But how can he? Because now there's only 90 left.
Oh, I see.
Because there
Well,
was 200 in the economy, and the first guy paid 110.
yeah. Yeah.
Now what happens? The guy becomes homeless.
You make money.
He becomes unemployed. And guess what? The bank owns his house now.
Yeah.
All that labor, and the bank knows that. See, the bank knows that. They make the rules. They make the money. They know this.
I got to tell you though, I'm glad there's people out there that borrow money and pay interest, because that same bank that gave them the money has got my money in the savings account. I don't earn money on my investment if there isn't somebody over here who's borrowed and paid interest. I can't make money. I cannot make money on a savings account if there isn't somebody out there borrowing from that bank and paying them interest back.
So now, what if we used gold as money?
It wouldn't make any difference. It's a tender. Gold is a tender.
Could you explain?
Tender is just a term of something that represents.
Barter tool?
Yeah, it's a tender. I think. Well, they used to say. God, I wish I had my Funkin' Wagnall with me. Tender is a form that you can use for payment, and it doesn't matter if it's silver or if it's gold or if it's the coin in my pocket or the paper in my wallet. That's a tender. So if I want to earn money by putting it in a savings account, that banker ain't going to give me any more than my $10 I put in there. He can't. He doesn't have it. So his job is to go out there and find somebody who hopefully is within their means, borrowed money from him, and is paying that interest. So he can keep some of it, but he can give me some of it too.
1 minute.
So the only thing that keeps the system rolling is if that banker lends out a third guy money. But you know what? The debt always increases. That's why we're going to. What's going on?
Well, hey.
Remember me from Fort Collins?
Yeah, I do actually.
What's your name? Tim. What's going on? All right. What brings you here?
What brings me here? I'm just here. How about that?
This is where you landed right now, right?
At this point in time, yeah. Wondering why.
Where are you staying?
Not at this point in time. I haven't really figured it out. How long you been doing this?
Oh, a couple days.
About 3 weeks.
Did you notice those two people walk up there as I was talking to my friend from Fort Collins? They asked him if he had any questions. And I was getting ready to tell him about Mystery Babylon and the book that I wrote, because he knew me. I knew him from homeless shelter in Fort Collins. So he knew who I was. We were already friends, and I was going to try to explain to him Mystery Babylon, because he's a Christian too. But what these two people did is they walked up and they said, yeah, do you got any questions? We noticed you were wondering, and you kind of stopped to see what was going on. And that guy was the one that was telling me not to put out my signs, not to talk about God at the protest, and I just really felt like a prisoner in a way. I mean, here's my friend walks up, and I feel like I don't have freedom and freedom of speech with my own friend. I mean, these guys remind me of the Chinese. I just don't know how else to explain it. Anyway, thanks.